Good evening. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Hi, Shirhana Yurmi and Michael Lee and Human. Hey, welcome tonight. I'm going to test some stuff tonight. Uh, a screen on screen thing. I'm not that great at all this, but this whole coal issue, actually, nobody talks about it, right? But I'm a geek, so I'm going to talk about it. Nobody really talks about all this stuff because sometimes, well, my friend has a website, called, a Facebook page called Whistling in the Dark, Nina Parker. And sometimes when you look at all this stuff, you look at coal, you look at fracking, you look at gas, you look at everything that we're doing to, industrial society is doing to pollute the planet for energy. Well, it does feel like you're whistling in the dark. But I'm still going to look at this article and we're going to talk about this issue because I think we're all burned out on this is related to politics, obviously, because of the all the things that the Trump administration is doing to undo, like this affordable energy thing with Wheeler, which we'll go into. So let me say hi to some of you. And Ed, say hi, Ed. And Kim. This bothered me ever since I live rurally, and when I drive home, sometimes through this area where I live, it is, oh gosh, shout out from those at COP25 too, like fearless leader Stuart Scott. I know I'm excited about some of this stuff coming up. I am for them. I've been watching everything of his. But anyway, I drive by and they do sell coal. These people sell coal and they for their coal stoves rurally. So I really don't know, tons about it, but I thought I'm going to read this article tonight. Hey, Karen, I'm going to read this article tonight. We'll talk about it. I'm going to try this screen on screen, and Basil's here too. Look at that, Mr. and Mrs. All right, this is good. This is good. I've had a lousy, pain filled couple of days, and I needed to do something to get myself distracted. And so we're going to be distracted with coal. Oh my God, Colette. She's here from Ireland. Bealtaine Cottage. This is wonderful. Oh my gosh. Ireland's in the house. And look at this. Who's in the house? Torstein's in the house. And going south, Greenland's in the house. And another country. Are you in Norway, Bio? Oh my God. Bio's in the house. So this is really cool. I'm excited tonight, even though it's a shitty topic and it's one of those topics that gives everybody freaking asthma and lung problems. So here we go. Now I may not see the chat. Maybe I can see it if I do it this way in the control center. My control center is a phone. Okay. Let's hope this works. Give me a second. I'm going to try this screen. Oh, look at that. Now, do you see that screen on screen? It kind of looks pretty good, doesn't it? So I got to move this so I can read the article. And like I said, I really don't, oh man, I have to put one of the things away, but I really want to read this. All right, so I will start at the beginning. And it was an article I saw today. It was in the HuffPost, and then a couple of other places have taken it. And I think it looks pretty good. So let's go. The only problem is I got to move over one screen. Okay, here we go. Coal New 2. A newly unearthed journal from 1966 shows that the coal industry, like the oil industry, was long aware of the threat of climate change. Well, duh. We probably all know this, right? We probably do. But here we go. Exxon knew. And thanks to the work of activists and journalists, these two words have rocked the politics of climate change in recent years as investigations revealed the extent to which giants like ExxonMobil and Shell were aware of the danger of rising greenhouse gases. But the coal industry knew too, as early as 1966. See, this guy, Chris Cherry, he was a professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. He salvaged a large volume from a stack of vintage journals that a fellow faculty member was about to toss out. He was drawn to a 1966 copy of the industry publication Mining Congress Journal. His father in law had been in the industry and he thought it might be, an interesting memento. So Cherry flipped it open to a passage from James R. Garvey, who was the president of Bituminous Coal Research, Inc., a now defunct coal mining and processing research organization. There is evidence that the amount of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere is increasing rapidly as a result of the combustion of fossil fuels, wrote Garvey. Oh, lots of you are with us. If the future rate of increase continues as it is at present, it has been predicted that because CO2 envelope reduces radiation, the temperature of the Earth's atmosphere will increase, and that vast changes in the climate of the Earth will result. Well, I know there was a lot of scientists who knew this. There were a lot of people, but the coal industry is one slimy, smarmy industry that unfortunately, employed a lot of people in Virginia, where Paula Jean Swearingen is running to win against Joe Manchin. It would be great if she got in because she's a progressive. Okay, I digress. Such changes in temperature will cause melting of the polar ice caps, which in turn would result in the inundation of many coastal cities, including New York and London, he continued. Cherry, he was floored. It was pretty well described, a version of what we know today as climate change. 1966, this was found. Increases in average air temperature, melting of polar ice caps, rising of sea levels. It's all in there. In a discussion piece immediately following Garvey's article, Peabody coal combustion engineer James R. Jones noted that the coal industry was merely buying time before more air pollution regulations came into effect. We are in favor of cleaning up our air, he wrote. Everyone can point to examples in his own community where something should be done. Our aim is to have control that does not precede the technical knowledge for compliance. Well, climate change is not Cherry's area of study, but he was struck by how the tone of the articles differed from the way many fossil fuel companies talk about climate change today. Rather than engage in denial, the articles offered a fairly straightforward acknowledgement of the emerging science. This reporter is also a writer for UT's Tickle College of Engineering, where Cherry teaches. So, as Cherry did some of his own digging, he soon realized that his discovery could be the first evidence that the coal industry was aware of the impending climate crisis more than half a century ago, a finding that could open mining companies to the type of litigation that the oil industry is now facing. Unfortunately, the coal industry is broke. I don't think they're going to get much. But there's the article, Mining Congress. Can you see, guys? I think this is pretty cool. I'm not scared of the screen on screen. I was terrified to use it. Well, while Peabody Energy, the largest private sector coal company in the world, and the largest producer of coal in the US, now acknowledges climate change on its website, it has been directly and indirectly involved in obfuscating climate science for decades. It funded dozens of trade, lobbying, and front groups that peddled climate misinformation, as The Guardian reported in 2016. And as recently as 2015, Peabody argued that carbon dioxide was a benign gas essential for all life, like all these morons. The climate deniers say, oh my God, we need CO2 is good for the air, as I was reading today in Standard Climate Denier Fare, how it's good for the plants. Yeah, okay. While the benefits of carbon dioxide are proven, the alleged risks of climate change are contrary to observe data. They are based on admitted speculation and lack of adequate scientific basis, the company wrote in a letter to the White House Council on Environmental Quality. Now, at the heart of Big Coal's denial campaign was Fred Palmer. How does he sleep at night? Who served as Peabody's senior vice president of government relations from 2001 to 2015. In 1997, Palmer founded the Greening Earth Society. Oh, geez, you know it's full of shit. The now defunct industry front group that argued that burning fossil fuels was good for the planet. See, what did I tell you? Oh, geez, hang on a second. When screens come up. Okay, what did I tell you? Um, and this group was based in the same office as the Western Fuels Association, a consortium of coal suppliers and coal fired utilities that Palmer also ran. Every time you turn your car on and you burn fossil fuels and you put CO2 in the air, you're doing the work of the Lord, Palmer told a Danish documentary team in 1997. That's the ecological system we live in, for God's sakes. Just lie about everything. Asked for a comment, Peabody spokesperson told HuffPost, Peabody recognizes that climate change is occurring and that human activity, including the use of fossil fuels, contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. We also recognize that coal is essential to affordable, reliable energy. Bullshit. Excuse me. For the foreseeable future. Peabody views technology as vital to advancing global climate change solutions, and company supports advanced coal technologies like Donald Trump's clean coal and continuous improvement toward the ultimate goal of near zero emissions from coal. Palmer, who did not respond to HuffPost's request for a comment, geez, I wonder why, continues to carry the torch. What a clueless moron. He now works as an energy policy advisor to the Heartland Institute. Oh, we all know and love them, right? A Chicago-based think tank whose climate denial, and I've talked about them before, is so severe that even ExxonMobil abandoned those losers. Abandoned funding it and its climate denial efforts a decade ago. In 2011, leaked memos showed that the Institute paid contrarian scientists like Craig Idso, founder of the Center for Study of Carbon Dioxide and Global Change, an $11,600 a month little stipend to promote carbon dioxide as beneficial to the environment. Were they having people sit in the back of vehicles and sucking on the tailpipes? The group sits at the heart of a broader white right wing, always, right? Misinformation network funded in large part by hedge fund billionaires. Robert Mercer and his daughter Rebecca, both Republican mega donors who backed President Donald Trump and finance projects such as Breitbart News and Cambridge Analytica, the data firm considered key to Trump's 2016 win. Of course, it's not, though. He's screaming, it's Ukraine, and they have the server. Palmer's daughter, Downey Magdalene, was a top policy advisor at Trump's Interior Department before joining oil giant BP in September of 2018. All of this was taking place well after climate change had become a commonly understood idea in the scientific community. A 1965 report from President Lyndon Johnson's Science Advisory Committee was the first from the White House to address climate change and is likely what precipitated the Mining Congress Journal article. The climate changes that may be produced by the increased CO2 content could be deleterious from the point of view of human beings, it warned. In 1988, NASA scientist James Hansen, who we all know and love, testified to Congress about what was known as the greenhouse effect. And in 1992, the United Nations established the Framework Convention on Climate Change, an international treaty to begin addressing the problem. Of course, we all here know this, but it's okay to go over it once in a while. But as this, because the average HuffPost reader may not. But as this consensus emerged, so too did a wave of industry funded climate denial via vast, shadowy networks of front groups, public relation campaigns, and scientists for hire. Doesn't that sound so American? Pulling back the curtain. In 2015, journalists at Inside Climate News, the Los Angeles Times, and Columbia University exposed internal ExxonMobil documents showing the company's scientists had a deep understanding of climate change, even as Exxon worked publicly to downplay that science. So I'm gonna go through this really fast because I'm not reading what we all know. See, they're talking about the liability and that how liability could transfer from what happened with the oil companies now to the coal industry. So, what we do know now is that coal, when burned, has by the biggest climate footprint of any fossil fuel, producing more carbon dioxide per unit than oil or gas. In the US alone, coal produces 65% of the power sector's planet warming emissions. In the 1966 article in the Mining Congress Journal certainly raises questions about what the coal industry knew at the time. Well, we're going to go through this because the coal, I'm just going to show you coal mining industry. Okay. I want to talk about some other countries also. And this goes, where do we go from here? Talks about the aftermath of the 73 embargo. But the ending says Peabody Energy filed for bankruptcy protection in 2016. And that's the same year that the carbon dioxide levels hit 400 parts per million. And 8 other coal companies have filed bankruptcy. But guys, that is not, all right, I'm going to get rid of this. That is not going to give any money to anybody. All right, let me see if I can shut this. Okay, that's not going to give any money to anybody. So even if they sued, what are they going to sue? However, I do want to move this one screen. Sorry, I'm just getting this right. I do want to talk about the countries, and then we're going to go through. I'll go through and see who's on here, and we'll talk about what All right. So this goes into other countries. And so when I talk about the United States and I talk about the clean power plan that the Trump administration's nixed so that they could put in their little fossil fuel version, Andrew Wheeler could. Well, it's not just the United States. It's Indonesia, which has 58% of its energy produced from coal. And it went up 18 percentage points between 2010 and 2017. Turkey, 33% went up 7 points. India, 75% went up 7 points. And India is the second largest coal producer, and then China with significant coal reserves. So let me ask you something. They have these coal reserves. We have these coal reserves. Who's not going to burn it? These are resources to these countries. They're going to burn it. They're going to burn it. And it is what it is, Then we go and we roll back, right? So the new rule in the United States, the deadly rule rejects science in a groveling effort to satisfy the fossil fuel lobby. And that's what the Center for Biological Diversity senior attorney Claire Lakewood said in a statement to EPA Watch. Trump's EPA is hell-bent on propping up coal at the expense of human health still, guys, because rolling back and not doing the clean air, the Clean Power Act, it's just ridiculous. So they killed it. They killed Obama's signature climate change policy. And, we can put down Obama about fracking and calling frack bomb, and he was a neoliberal and all that, but it was as decent as what we could even hope for. Now we're not even in Paris. Who knows who's going to go to the COP 25 from the United States. But I went through and I was looking at this fact sheet for this rule for the affordable, whatever the hell it is supposed to be. And it they talk about that this will reduce carbon dioxide emissions in 2025 by between 13 and 30 million short tons. And I don't know. I don't know if I buy it, because even if the United States does make a little dent because of all the bankruptcies and all that in coal, the rest of the world is burning it. It's burning it. So I've got a couple of other things to add um, to this with a few little ditties of information and about this, in the United States. And then I was wanting to know what other countries have any kind of clean plan. I didn't have enough time to research that, but this guy, Andrew Wheeler, who is the head of the EPA in the United States, he is a former coal lobbyist. So, of course, the rules were going to change. And it was, of course, criticized by environmental groups and attorneys general of California, Oregon, Washington State, Iowa, Colorado, and New York. They all vowed to stop it, but they didn't. I don't think it's been stopped, although New York Attorney General James, she says they're going to sue over the dirty power rule. They call it the dirty power rule. And in I will find that in China, according to Reuters, this was not long ago. Approvals for new coal mine construction in China have surged in 2019. Government documents showed with Beijing expecting consumption of the commodity to rise in the coming years, even as it steps up its fight against smog and greenhouse gas emissions. So I guess people in Beijing will not be getting rid of their face masks anytime soon. I don't think so. So that's going on there. They say they have long term cuts in coal consumption, which is a key part of their energy, environment, and climate goals. But then they have the Belt and Road Initiative. So what's it going to do? One is going to just work off the other, and nothing's going to change. And I don't mean to sound so negative, but you read the stuff and you kind of know. The history of this whole thing, but I don't even have to go into this. We can have some discussion about this now, I think, if you'd like. They signed this in DeSmog blog had it where they signed it in, I guess it was maybe in June. So, oh, there was one more article that I had explain, and I put all the links in, or I don't know, maybe I didn't, maybe I did put all the links in, but the conversation had a good article from February of this past year, and it was talking about the alarming trend of coal remaining the main source of energy. And I did take actually let me see if I could put it up. I don't know if I can find it. I'm going to find this picture. I have a graph, and let's see. Okay, here's a graph, but I don't know if you can actually see this very well. Let's see. It says let me make it a little bit bigger. No, I can't make it. Okay, significant gains in the West, almost entirely offset by increasing coal in other countries. So it shows you Indonesia, India, and Turkey, large coal producers with increasing share of coal in their electricity mix. And then there's countries diversifying their electricity mix, which is Malaysia, China, Japan, and South Korea. Doesn't mean they're getting rid of it, right? The Philippines, Vietnam, They are continuing to develop their coal resources. And the countries forgoing coal, the EU. The EU is trying to get rid of coal. Large coal producers with decreasing share of coal is China, Australia, and the USA. But it doesn't seem at all like the um, the USA, Australia gives a crap. And let me figure out how to get rid of it. All right, it's gone. I'm getting pretty snappy with this Ecamm Live. Wow. Pretty soon I'll be able to show you videos. I'm kind of proud of myself because you know what? I'm a half-ass learner anymore because I am, being a chronic pain patient, but I'm really proud of myself. So let's give me a pat on the back. I don't do it. I can't sit very long. I don't do these very long, but I'm really proud of myself tonight. So, let's see what you guys are talking about out there. Okay, Kim says where her friend lives, there's no coal use in Turkey. Well, that's good. Overall, I can make this about coal. I can make this about fracking. I can make this about any fossil fuel. But when there's reserves and when these countries want to be westernized that are working on westernizing, it's going to be a hard sell, especially when they have these reserves. They're going to burn the coal. We're going to frack the gas. We're going to drill the oil. And I believe that if the political winds in the United States could only blow towards, I'm not going to tonight. I'm not going to take my choice of candidate. But if the winds could blow in a progressive direction in the United States, maybe some of those other countries might follow that are right leaning, like Poland. I mean, they had COP24 and they were burning coal. So, again, we know that these companies knew. We know we've been lied to. We know it's been corrupt in every facet. I mean, I was glued to these investigations, and I watched the debate last night, but I needed a little break. And I think maybe you all did. So we learned a little bit more about coal, and we learned a little bit more about it isn't going away, you know? So what are you saying there, Copy Cooney? Our names, they mean nothing. Our ages mean less. The nation we come from is called the North American West. We were born and raised here, all the laws to abide. He always puts in the neatest poetry. How are you, Kim? How's your shoulders? Well, I think this has been a pretty good little live stream on coal. And what are you saying, going south? We are showroom dummies. I'm really looking forward to seeing Paul Beckwith too. If you guys want to watch Paul's work and help him, I think his GoFundMe to go to COP25 is still open. And I don't remember if I donated or not. I'm kind of really broke, guys, at right now. It's not a good thing. But I'm going through something, and some of you know, some of you don't. Um, my physical body isn't getting any better, but I still have you, right? Right. And if I really want to see corruption, check out what the nuke industry knows. Well, then, you give me an idea for a whole other live stream because they all knew. And James Hansen, when he said nuclear would be, clean or the answer, it's frightening to me. But at the time, I think they were grasping at straws and they didn't have all the information on the fact that we, nuclear waste lives in perpetuity. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants it. And I did read something about a movement to take nuclear waste and use that as energy, which of course, yes, you got my email. Absolutely. When I'm feeling good, which is maybe 2 days a week, let's collaborate. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's got my email. It's environmentalcoffeehouse@gmail. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Hiya, Shiva. Wow, next week is Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm not going to cook. I can't. I couldn't even lift a leg of a turkey. I think we're going to actually go to family, which would be nice. Karen, it was great to see you. I love you. Guys, I have a video with Karen and me sitting on my deck when she was here visiting, if you want to look for it. Orla's here. Where's Orla? I saw your Orla. Hey, Orla. I love to shout you all out. I really do. I thought it was not fun. I just thought it was a good topic since nobody ever talks about this stuff. I hate the Trump administration. What's going to happen is what's going to happen. But I don't like, the environmental policies being rolled back. I want us to be leaders. I want to work with the great countries that want to solve problems, even if in the end result there's no solution. I'm not naive, but I'm alive today. And as Jim said today on his video on Facebook, where he's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, McQually, I hope I say his name right. He's out there every week by himself with climate change posters and all. And he's going to go to DC to march with XR. And I really wish I could, but I couldn't march for 10 minutes without falling down, and I'm not ready for a wheelchair yet. So I guess I won't be going to DC. I'm a keyboard warrior. Let's see. Sea level rise is expected. Yeah, now it's baked in. 85% of those are on coasts. Oh, that's one that Antonio's really into. You and Antonio could work together. I have been reading his material. I have to finish. I've been putting it off, and I'm feeling terribly guilty. In fact, that might be Good Friday night reading after I cut y'all off. Cross fingers I make it up there. So, yeah, you'll come and visit us. Yes, you will, Kim. I hope so. Oh, hello. All that fall shall rise again. We have the knowledge, resources, and ability to be sustainable, to secure our sustainability and survive. Oh, boy. Is that too much to hope for? You know? Well, guys. Oh, hi, Tanya. Hi, sweetheart. Nice to see you. Yeah, I rest my back all the time. I'm sick of resting my back. There's a farmer's market tomorrow. I'm going to get out. It's a pre-Thanksgiving in my little town, which is actually dying because the cafe left. And so it's really dying, and I'm going to go and support. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. My indoor greenhouse. Nothing seems to want to be growing through. I have to look now. What the hell did I do wrong? I planted everything. I've got everything done right. I've got lighting. We'd starve to death if we were relying on my indoor planting. My gosh, I really don't understand it. But anybody has anything, send it to me at the email address, because I thought by now I would be seeing all these little green germ nubbies. And I used good seeds, I thought. We have 1,000,000 seeds. I used my own seeds even that I propagated from this year. Kim. Yes, it's all about money and corruption. That's why we're in the predicament we're in. We're in that predicament. But one day at a time. I'm in a personal predicament. We all have personal predicaments. There's a few of us on here that do know what suffering from pain is like. I don't have to name you. You know who I'm talking about. All right, guys, it's 35 minutes and it's Friday night. I'm going to cut you. Oh, lightning rod. I'll say hi to you too. You'll have to go back and watch from the beginning. um, it looks like you've got a lot of interesting things here. All that fall shall rise again. Harnessing wave energy by putting magnetically charged iron and copper coils create ocean-based electromagnetic induction. You sound like an inventor. You sound like the kind of person that's really cool and interesting. And it doesn't sound like it's scary energy. Geothermal and solar steam desalination can create clean water and clean energy. See, you're the kind of person that gives us that feeling that maybe, and I'm not going to say opium, just that maybe. Who knows? One day at a time. Thanks for coming. Everybody, thanks for coming. Germination could be a heat issue. Oh boy. Write to me, environmentalcoffeehouse@gmail. Tell me, give me some links because I'm not Miss Indoor Gardener. I'm trying. You know, the apocalypse comes, maybe I'll be able to bring some green beans inside. I mean, I'm trying to grow them, so whatever. Love and light to you all. I love you the same. Kim, I'm going to end with this. Everybody have a great weekend. Thank you for coming. Think about this, though. Get out and vote in the United States. Let's get rid of the scourge. Let's get in the progressives. Bye.